She marched straight to the bus stop like she owned it, blocking my little girl as she stepped off the yellow bus. "You can't live here. This neighborhood is private property," Karen snapped, her voice sharp enough to make other kids flinch. My daughter clenched her backpack tighter, her eyes darting toward me. I was standing just a few feet away, watching in disbelief as this woman towered over her like a cop at a crime scene. I took a step forward, but Karen raised a finger at me first. "Don't bother! I've already reported you. You and your kid are done here." She waved a piece of paper in the air, bold letters stamped across the top. HOA Notice of Removal. It looked official, but I knew it was fake. My daughter whispered, almost shaking, "Daddy, why is she saying we can't go home?" My jaw tightened. Karen had no clue who she was talking to. She thought I was just another helpless parent she could bully. She didn't know the truth, that I was the chief of police in this very county. Karen's voice grew louder, drawing the attention of parents still waiting nearby. "This man doesn't belong here. His house was never approved by the HOA. He's breaking every rule." She waved the paper like a weapon, her eyes burning with entitlement. My daughter's face turned pale, and I stepped closer, putting my hand gently on her shoulder. "That's enough," I said, my tone even but sharp. Karen scoffed, mistaking my calm for weakness. "You think you can scare me? I know the law better than you do. The police will be here any second." Her words made me almost laugh. I kept my badge hidden, my uniform locked away at the station, but I carried authority in my voice. "Careful what you wish for," I told her quietly. The crowd began to murmur. One parent pulled out their phone, recording everything. Karen didn't care. She was feeding off the attention, barking louder now. "This man is trespassing in his own house. Arrest him! Remove his kid from the bus stop!" My daughter's grip tightened around my hand, her little eyes filling with tears. Karen's words cut deep, but I stayed still, because the real cops she was bragging about calling were my people, and they were already on their way. The first patrol car rolled up, lights flashing across the quiet suburban street. Parents pulled their kids closer, whispering as the officers stepped out. Karen bolted toward them, waving her arms. "Finally! Arrest him right now! He's endangering children, and his daughter shouldn't even be here!" The officers looked from her to me, clearly caught off guard by her screaming. I stayed calm, resting my hand on my daughter's shoulder. "Officers, before you act on anything, you'll want to see what she's been handing out." I gestured to the crumpled paper still clutched in her hand. She shoved it into their faces. "Look! HOA removal notice. This proves he has no right to live in that house." One officer frowned. "Ma'am, this is not a legal document. It doesn't even have a signature." But she doubled down, jabbing her finger toward me. "He's a fraud! He's pretending to be something he's not. Just cuff him already." My daughter looked up at me, scared, and whispered, "Daddy, why are they listening to her?" I bent down slightly and whispered back, "Because they don't know the truth yet." Then I stood tall, meeting the officer's eyes. My voice dropped low, steady. "Before you take another step, you need to know who I am." Karen laughed, loud and bitter. "Who you are? You're nothing. Just another squatter who doesn't belong here." I slipped my wallet from my pocket and flipped it open. The gold badge caught the sunlight. The officers froze. Karen's smirk vanished. The whole street went silent when the badge glinted. One officer's eyes widened. "Chief?" he asked, his voice almost stumbling. Karen blinked fast, her mouth opening and closing like she just swallowed glass. No, that's fake. He can't be the chief of police," she shouted, but her voice cracked under the weight of her own panic. The officers straightened immediately, addressing me with respect. "Sir, do you need us to step in?" one asked. I kept my eyes on Karen, who was still clutching the fake HOA notice. My daughter pressed closer to my side, finally looking less afraid. Karen wasn't ready to let go. "Don't listen to him," she screamed, turning to the crowd of parents. "He's abusing power. He's using some shiny badge to fool everyone." But her son, who had been hiding behind her this whole time, whispered too loudly, "Mom, maybe we should stop." She snapped back at him. "Quiet, I'm doing this for us." That was her mistake. I raised my voice so everyone could hear. "You just harassed a child, forged HOA documents, and tried to file a false report against a law officer. And you did it in front of witnesses." Karen's face turned pale, but she still hissed, "You won't get away with this!" The crowd was staring now, phones recording, parents shaking their heads in disgust. The same woman who strutted around acting untouchable was suddenly exposed, cornered by her own lies. Karen's hands started to shake, but instead of backing down, she doubled her volume. "He's abusing me! He threatened my son! You all saw it!" she screamed, twisting her story again. The parents lining the sidewalk murmured in disbelief, phones still pointed right at her. One mother called out, "We saw you yelling at his little girl, Karen, don't lie!" Karen's eyes darted around, desperate for someone to back her up, but no one moved. The officer shifted uncomfortably until I spoke, my tone sharp but calm. "Check the cameras at the bus stop. They've been running all week. Every word she said, every move she made, it's all there." Karen froze. Her son tugged her sleeve, whispering, "Mom, the cameras," but she snapped at his arm. "Shut up!" That moment alone made half the parents gasp. One officer tapped his radio, calling for the footage to be pulled from the city's monitoring system. Karen tried one last card. She stepped toward me, pointing at my badge. "This is corruption! He planted those cameras! He's setting me up!" But her voice cracked mid-sentence, and the crowd had already made up their mind. The truth was bleeding out fast. My daughter looked up at me, whispering, "Daddy, is she going to jail?" I kept my eyes on Karen, who was still clutching the fake HOA notice. My daughter pressed closer to my side, finally looking less afraid. Karen wasn't ready to let go. "Don't listen to him," she screamed, turning to the crowd of parents. "He's abusing power. He's using some shiny badge to fool everyone." But her son, who had been hiding behind her this whole time, whispered too loudly, "Mom, maybe we should stop." She snapped back at him, "Shut up! I'm doing this for us." The footage came through faster than Karen expected. One officer held up his tablet, the screen showing her storming across the street, jabbing her finger at my daughter's face, shoving the fake paper into her backpack. The sound played clear as day, her voice yelling, "You don't belong here!" The parents gasped, some shaking their heads, others recording the tablet itself for proof. Karen lunged forward, trying to snatch it. "That's edited! He hacked it!" she screamed, but the officer pulled the device back. "Ma'am, this is city surveillance. You can't touch this." Her son's face turned red, and he muttered, "Mom, please stop." He looked more embarrassed than scared now. I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only she could hear. "You thought you could bully a child. You thought nobody would check, but you picked the wrong family." Karen's eyes widened, fury and panic crashing together. You set me up," she whispered. The officer didn't wait any longer. He unclipped his cuffs. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for harassment of a minor, falsifying documents, and filing a false police report." Karen thrashed instantly, screaming at the crowd, "Film this! He's framing me! The chief is corrupt!" But instead of sympathy, she was met with parents pulling their kids closer, glaring at her like she was poison. As the cuffs clicked shut, my daughter leaned into me and whispered with a small smile. She looked scared now.